Aloha, and welcome to Planet Sun's Great Adventures in the Sun, where we explore the endeavors of Team Planet Sun athletes as they push themselves and our products to the limits throughout planet Earth. In this segment, we feature adventure athlete Richard Costello, who in June 2013 successfully completed the Tour Divide, arguably the most challenging mountain bike race on Earth, traversing the Great Rocky Mountains. In the end, Richard cycled 2,859 miles in 30 days, 9 hours. Richard had so much fun there that on the 7th of June 2014, he will embark on another ultra-distance cycling adventure, the Trans-American Bike Race, a non-stop self-supported road bike race along the 4,233-mile Trans-America Trail. On the trail, Richard will traverse 10 states starting in Astoria, Oregon, and finishing at Yorktown, Virginia. Richard's goal is to complete the race in 25 days, and for a little more fun, he will ride another 500-plus miles from the finish line back home to Warminster, Pennsylvania. We caught up with Richard in the Keystone State during his final preparations for the race and asked for his thoughts on the event, what it's going to take to complete it, and also gear setup. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Richard Costello.
Involved with this self-supported style endurance racing. You spend so much time preparing, selecting what gear you're going to use and what equipment. You just spend a lot of time dialing all that stuff in so it's ready to go. The toughest thing you actually face, though, is the unknown, is the stuff that you cannot prepare for. I can go out and test, my bicycle, my sleeping gear, everything. But it's until when you're out there and the unexpected happens. That's the stuff that's like, it's always a question mark. So you just have to always just take each day as they come. And again, when things go wrong in long distance cycling events, you deal with them, especially when you're in the middle of nowhere. You're by yourself, so you can't just pick up the telephone and make a call. You have to just take care of the situation and keep yourself moving. So obviously for this year, the difference between the Tour Divide race last year, which was all off-road, and now the Trans-Am race, which is nothing but road. A lot of the gear that I'm going to be using is pretty much next to nothing. My whole sleeping arrangements are changing. Everything is much lighter, more packable. The toughness of it, again, even though it's on road, there's still roughly almost another 2,000 miles more in distance that has to be covered than what I cycled last year. Again, by the time the race comes around, you want everything lined up. All your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And again, it's just every day you just take things as they come and prepare for the unknown out there. And that's really what the biggest challenge lies in, is the unknown, what lies out there waiting for you. As for the elements, yikes, snow, wind, rain, sun. It's funny, I can think of one time in New Mexico, I could see a driving hailstorm coming straight at me, and there was nothing I could do but just literally cycle through it and take it as it there was no shelter, nowhere to go. So, you just keep going, and, hopefully you put your rain gear on and whatever little bit of help that'll give you, but you just keep soldiering on through. And I pretty much go where my two wheels will take me. I'll just start cycling, 1 hour after another, and, they just keep adding up. I have prescribed stops where I'll take a break. Factor in meals. When you do this type of training, again, when you're actually doing these long distance events, you have to learn to feed yourself. And again, feeding yourself doesn't mean just cycling along and eating, some granola bars or something. I need to have some big meals in me. So you actually train on how to eat. Again, after cycling, possibly having close to 50 miles put in before I even eat breakfast, it's nothing for me to stop and eat a large breakfast with like eggs and pancakes, juice, coffee, and then shortly thereafter eating breakfast, you're right back into the saddle and you continue to cycle for many more hours. When you're trying to cycle almost 200 miles a day, a pace, definitely a good, solid, steady pace. So I mean, these are all part of what factors into like training, and the only way you can do that, to prepare for events like that is just be out there training for 10 to 14 hours. And that means when it's raining, when it's extremely windy, when it's snowing, you just have to go. There's a lot of days where I just laugh to myself, sometimes out loud, because I know a lot of other people, they would choose not to cycle on a given day where the weather is inclement or it's too harsh. But again, when you're choosing to race across the entire United States, you can't take days off when it's bad weather. You have to motor through that. So what better way to prepare for that is to train in it. I've still kept up on some swimming, very low key. So much of my emphasis is on cycling now that it's really tough to do other things, because again, it comes back to the amount of time that I cycle. When I go out and spend all day and into the evening cycling, when I come home, I have other chores I need to tend to and things around the home and family life. So I mean, those things kind of like take precedence over the other training that I might want to do. But the Trans Am race, it's going to be a little bit more friendly towards the cyclists, because we're going to be swinging through a lot more towns. I won't have to worry about siphoning my own water from streams and rivers like I did on a Tour Divide. I'm just going to be able to refuel a lot more in and out of these little towns. My 2014 Trans Am rig is a Surly disc trucker. This is a chromoly steel framed bike. It's pretty much standing right here for you in its stock condition, besides a couple small upgrades I've already made. But like I said, it's a chromoly steel frame. It's size 62 centimeter. It's a big bike. I'm a big guy, so that's what I need to cycle on. And I've gone with a Brooks Standard B17 leather saddle. And one of the great things about this leather saddle is the more you use it, the more it conforms to your own shape and style of your own body. So the longer I spend in this race on this saddle, the more it's just going to conform to me, and I'm looking forward to that. Another upgrade I've made is my aero bars. The difference in these aero bars that I'm using this year than I did last year on the Tour Divide, these are a much more straighter, lengthy bar than the ones I had on my Tour Divide kit. These are adjustable. I'm able to pull them in or out, but I have a lot more space on there to get down, get my long arms stretched out on there, and be in a more aerodynamic, sleeker position. And I got to tell you, it looks a lot more sexier too. I can tuck down nice and tight, drop my head, and just feel a lot more comfortable on those open, long stretches of road. This big bag in the back here is the Biscaccia. This contains my sleeping equipment, my sleeping bag, my bivy sack, and my inflatable air mattress. I have all three of those items neatly tucked in here, and I still have a lot of space to put other things in there. So what you see here is the saddle bag is the Biscaccia. Underneath the main bar here in the center of the frame, we have a large tangle frame bag. This is a big bag. It's got zippered entry on both sides. The pockets are deep. They're so deep and there's so much room in there. That's why I was able to get rid of some of the other bags I've used in last year's event on the Tour Divide. I can store all my essential tools, extra gear I'm taking along. My clothing will be stored in here. Any extra food that I plan on carrying in between, different supply stops on the route, that's going to go in here. And also, look at this. Sun care is very important, and this is where my sun care products from Planet Sun are going to be stored. We got some of the sunscreen here. I'll have some of the chapstick. I'll have my UV protection sleeves when I'm not wearing them. I'll have them tucked in here, so a lot of space. Planet Sun products, a must and a necessity on this event for sure. Lots of sunshine. The last part of this rig that you're seeing here is part of my navigational equipment. I'm using a Garmin eTrex 20 GPS unit. This little piece here is great. This is how I navigate between the uses of this and maps, which will be placed up front here. This is it. This is my 2014 Trans Am bicycle rig, and I'm very excited to be using it, and I'm looking forward to not only successfully crossing the entire United States, but once I'm done that, I'm just going to continue cycling right back on home to Pennsylvania from the finish line. Ending up, I'd just like to say, thanks for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for all the support, the interest you've shown. This is a pretty big, task at hand here, but I think I'm up to the challenge. And, like I said, I appreciate all the interest that everybody has shown. And, hopefully, if you're following along, if you live close to the route, come on out and say hello. Catch me on the road somewhere. We'll stop and chat, and it'll be really nice to meet some of you friends and followers and fans in person. So hopefully I'll see you somewhere on the road across this great country. For now, we're going to sign off from here and hope to see many of you soon. And aloha from Pennsylvania.